Hello, sir. Please introduce yourself and share with us your background and the story behind founding Hera Public School.
My name is Tarique Azam and I was born in this very village, Hududia, which is a rural backwater district of Azamgarh in the eastern part of Uttar Pradesh. I was born in 1949, February 1949. So officially I'm 76 years old now. And my early education was in this village, in a small madrasa and Islamia primary school. And then I went to a nearby higher secondary school, and after completing my high school with UP board, I went to Shibli College in Azamgarh city, where I completed my intermediate. And then I appeared for IIT entrance test and landed in IIT Madras in Department of Civil Engineering. And then I graduated from IIT Madras in 1974 with first class honors. And then I received a scholarship from Australian government to do my master's in Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok, which I completed in December 1975, after which I went to Malaysia, worked there for some time, then moved to Indonesia and Middle East, and again came back to Malaysia. And from there I did most of my work. I joined a public listed company of engineering and construction, and I was involved in many high-profile, prestigious projects at different levels, from engineering to construction management to project management to as a project director, and finally as a CEO of a very large construction and engineering company. I retired from there in 2011.
What inspired you to establish an educational institution in Azamgarh?
This was a very old inspiration from the very early, during my IIT days. I always realized that our education system is very one-sided, especially with reference to Muslim community. Either you go for a madrasa education where you have all the religious education, upbringing, and you end up as a alim or as a religious scholar or teacher, or you go to a secular school, secular education, and you end up as a professional, so whatever you intend to do, lawyer, doctors, and other profession. But human beings cannot be divided into compartments like that. This was my very early understanding, and I always had read about and conceived this idea of holistic education, where upbringing, spirituality of man and his profession, which he needs to earn a dignified living, must be combined together to make him a complete human. As I consider that there are three dimensions of human existence. Number one is his spirituality. Number two is his social existence. He lives in a society, interacts with other human beings. So he is a social animal, and he has all the instincts and all the God-given characters to be fully social. And then the third dimension, which is very important, is rational behavior, is rational thinking, which is the basis of all the sciences. And all these three must be present in a balanced fashion in a human being to make him really a perfect human, or as perfect as possible. So this was the idea which I had conceived long time ago, and I developed it in my mind. And when I got the chance and the resources, I started doing it.
How have your educational philosophy and goals evolved since the inception of Hera Public School?
Yeah, so this was the model I wanted to create, where holistic education, where you give a spiritual education, a social education, and rational education. And along with the education, you, what we call in Urdu, tarbiyah, that means actually upbringing, inculcate the desirable human traits, not just teach 5 hours in the school through a passive learning methodology, where child is really not, his exposure to education and training and experience very limited. So I wanted to eventually create a residential institution where you have normal teaching, you have upbringing and discipline and all other elements which make the education complete. So initially it was, of course, it was a very big struggle. As you know, these kind of things need a lot of resources. But we started in a very humble way, and we have traveled a long distance.
Reflecting on your journey, what have been some of the most significant challenges you have faced in running a school?
Plenty of it, indeed. So initially was the trying to convince the community that this combination of spiritual, moral and secular education under one roof is a good idea, because a lot of people were very doubtful whether I am creating a madrasa, I am creating a school or college or what. They couldn't really comprehend that it can be done together. So that was the big challenge, to convince people around the community that this is a good idea and should be done.
Can you share a milestone or achievement that holds special meaning to you and the Hera Public School community?
There are a number of milestones which we have achieved. One milestone which really gave me happiness is our pre-school education system, this which we call, which is a franchise actually, Brainy Stars, which is activity-based learning model based on Montessori system. And this system of education is in a rural area, it was first time, and it has been very successful, has been become very, very popular here. So much so that we are unable to accommodate all the application for admissions. So this was a great achievement, really.
In your experience, what are some underappreciated challenges specific to managing educational institutions?
Yeah, that's a very really important question, and probably it is the crux of the challenges, all the challenges put together. See, the biggest challenge is a balance between quality education and cost of education. If you desire to have a high quality education, you need resources. You need to charge high fees. Otherwise, you cannot get good quality manpower, committed manpower, well qualified, well experienced manpower, and good quality infrastructure to impart a quality education. But we are in a rural area, and the paying capacity of the parents is very limited. So we need to have a balance between the cost and the quality. That is the biggest challenge. That's why I always say that in a country like ours, in India, education cannot be a commercial enterprise. Otherwise, a big section of the society will not be able to get the benefit of it. It has to be a social enterprise where people with wherewithal, with the resources, who are endowed with the financial means, come forward and invest in education, not to make profit, but to serve the society. So this is a very important aspect of this thing, that this whole exercise, that this attempt should be a social enterprise.
How does Hera Public School differentiate its educational approach from other schools?
In a number of ways. First thing, we are very innovative. There's no limit to our innovation in trying to make learning happen. You see, schools normally, run-of-the-mill schools, they run the school 5-6 hours in the day. Teachers come and they teach. There are teacher training programs, there are other activities and all that, but there is no monitoring of actual learning taking place, except your regular exams in which students are given a set of questions and they answer, and based on their learning level, they answer the question successfully, or whatever success rate may be. In that kind of learning environment, only a very small percentage of students who come from comparatively better household, who are exposed to better environment at home, only they are successful. But other majority of it, I would say more than 80%, they do not benefit from that kind of teaching system. What we have tried is that to bring this learning process to almost like 80%, 90% of students through activity-based learning. So that is the first on the learning side, on the teaching side. On the financial side, what we have done is, out of our total strength of students, which is close to 1,700, we have almost 400 students who are either partially or fully sponsored, or they get free education. So in my knowledge, there is no school in the vicinity or even in other places that I know of who are giving free education to that rung of society, which is really at the bottom. So we are doing this. Our school is one of the few. We have like waste disposal system, rainwater harvesting, and all these things we are doing in a very diligent, very sort of a serious way. So you can see our library, our labs, they're well equipped, well provided. And so in a way, we are quite distinguished in this thing.
In what ways have you incorporated technology and innovative teaching methods into the curriculum?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned just now, we have not only at the preschool level activity-based learning, we have now gone one step further. We have introduced it at the primary from class 1 to 5, this activity-based learning. We have a special class for spoken English. We have introduced complete English speaking in our classrooms, except the language teachers of Urdu, Hindi, and all that kind of subjects. No other class teacher speaks in languages other than English in the classroom. So we are taking serious effort to inculcate proper learning taking place.
How do you ensure that development of both academic skills and life skills in your students?
This is a work in progress actually, really. We are setting up a skill training center where in future, at this moment, it's not happening in a planned way, in an organized manner, but we are planning to set up a skill training center where we will expose our students not in any detail, but at least in a rudimentary way to technical skill, hand skills.
Can you elaborate on Hera Public School's initiatives towards inclusivity and supporting students from diverse backgrounds?
Yeah, as I said earlier mentioned, we have a special arrangement for taking students from very poor bottom rung of the society who are given either totally free or partially free education. And also we recognize meritorious students by giving them discount in fees, sometimes completely free. Even our residential arrangements, we give a certain percentage to those who are of high merit, free education.
How does the school engage with the local community and parents to foster a supportive educational ecosystem?
We are in touch with our parents all the time through our mass SMS system or email system or our social platforms and website. And also we have very frequent meetings individually as well as collectively with the parents and guardians, where we interact, we inform them about the performance of their wards, about their attendance issues and things like that.
What are your future plans for Hera Public School and how do you plan to achieve them?
We just got our affiliation, our recognition, our high school, CISC, SCE, ICSC board. And next 2 years, we hope to get the 11th and 12th affiliation as well. So that is already a big milestone. So this will complete our school education part. Then we have started last 2-3 years developing our residential academy, where those parents who can afford can put their children, and we give them extra hours in the hostel in the night. Plus also we give them exposed to them a real discipline, sports, exercises, and a lot of other techniques to enhance their health, their learning habits, and their performance. So that is the second aspect of residential academy. We also have started a program for dropout students, or students coming from like madrasas who have no exposure to modern education. And we run a bridge course of 6 months to 1 year. We call it Academic ICU, Academic Intensive Care Unit, where we restore their educational level commensurate with their age. And once they reach that level, then they can enter into a normal class appropriate for their age group.
How do you envision the role of Hera Public School in shaping the future of education in Azam?
I have the vision, and I'm working towards that vision, that Hera Public School will be the best school in the whole of Eastern UP. And it will lead and become a benchmark for other schools to follow.
What advice would you give to individuals aspiring to contribute to the education sector either by starting a school or through other means?
Yeah, I will advise them, if you are interested in making money only, please don't come in this field. But if you are interested to serve the society, become a reason or become a, if you aspire to be a change in the society, then please put all your resources. You see, the model is very simple. You must invest enough in quality infrastructure, and you must have the vision of what kind of education you want to give, and then make it self-sufficient in operational, in running costs. But don't expect you payback for the infrastructure which you have invested. So that is the model. You invest as an individual, as a service to the society, money to build the infrastructure, and then create a quality where you have enough students, enough fees to run it smoothly. That's it.
Reflecting on your journey, what would you have done differently if given a chance?
I can't see anything different, really.
How do you perceive the evolution of education in India, especially in areas similar to Azam?
I think, in my opinion, because as I said, I will not have any other way. So to me, this is the model. This is the model that a person is not just a tool for production, material production. He is a human being. He must be equipped with all the needs of a human being. His spirituality, his social needs, and his rational ideas must be all accommodated in the education philosophy, so that his output in this world can be maximized, can be optimized, and he can contribute in a very healthy and satisfactory manner, satisfactory for himself as well as for the society.
So what unique challenges do schools in less urbanized areas face, and how can they be addressed?
I think the challenge is basically now is the resources, the lack of resources, which in turn becomes a very poor quality education. That is the biggest challenge, really. As they say, we must put our money where our mouth is. And I'm very sorry or very sad to say that in the Indian context, we are not putting that money where our mouth is. We are not really putting the basic education from pre-primary to higher secondary is a basic need of any society. If this part of education is not a quality education, then you can forget about reaching the stars, really. The nation will not go very far. And both private as well as government are far behind where they should be in this field, really. This is my message. They should, both government as well as the private sector, should invest in this, not to make money in this sector, but this will allow them to make money in the other sectors. When we have quality manpower, we have quality education in the masses, and they will produce quality manpower, which will benefit all industries. So that is my message. Try not to make money in this field, in the field of education, but help it to produce the quality manpower.
Can you just brief us the importance of educational institutions in rural and or semi-urban areas in bridging the educational divide?
Yeah, I mean, this is not in so many words. The education divide is because of the lack of resources for the poor people. For those who are below, 70% of our population, I would say, based on my personal experience in this field, 70% of our population cannot afford quality education on their own, without the government help. So both private sector as well as government input is required. I mean, today the situation is very obvious to everybody. The best teachers are in the government schools, but the worst education is in the government schools. They themselves are sending their children to private schools. What an irony.
So how has Hera Public School contributed to the social and cultural development of its students?
We try to engage them in as many as possible cultural programs, social programs, interaction with the public, environmental issues, and we're trying to expose them at every level, from pre-primary to really at the senior secondary level.
In what ways do you believe incorporating religious values or teaching enhances the educational experience within your school community, and how do you ensure that these elements are getting included?
Yeah, this is very sensitive and very delicate question. You see, there is no other, in my opinion, there is no other way to inculcate responsible behavior in human beings without bringing in religion. Because the fear of God alone instills internal discipline, internal moral values, and uprightness. There's no man-made law, there's no man-made system which can make people moral, ethical, or law-abiding. So only system is fear of God, fear of the unseen. So religion has to come in, but having said that, religion must be brought in a positive manner, not make people prejudiced against other religions, other systems of belief. So it must be implemented with wisdom and foresightedness, not to make the outcome very rigid and dogmatic, but wise, which only religion can instill. So that is my idea of the holistic education, to bring in religion, to instill the fear of God, so that ethical behavior, moral behavior can result in the character.
In what ways does a school prepare students for global challenges while keeping them rooted in their local culture and values?
Yes, this is also a part and parcel of the holistic education, because if you involve them in local cultural traditions and values, and at the same time, I mean, today's world, the global exposure is there through the social media, through the all the social platforms. So you cannot hide them behind a curtain. So social global exposure is all there. So it's best that we prepare them consciously for the global exposure. For example, and that's why English medium education becomes very important, because the global communication is in English. If you only master the local language, Urdu, Hindi, or whatever language, you are limiting yourself geographically. You can only work in this geographical location. But if you have good command of English language or global languages, other global languages, then your scope becomes much bigger. Your canvas for action becomes so much larger. So English education is a very important part of global exposure. And then exposing the children the opportunities for education and work, not only in India, but outside India, in other parts of the world, so that is another which we expose them quite regularly through lectures and invited guests and other means.
From an entrepreneurial perspective, what are the key considerations for running a successful educational institution?
So entrepreneurship I believe must be developed from very early, must be inculcated from very early age. There must be, for example, we are trying in our school from class 5th and 6th, expose them to what are the various career options available for them, and then which also includes enterprise, business. So, and for that, what skills are required, what qualifications are required. And we also try to inculcate them that actually the entrepreneurship is the most fulfilling profession, most fulfilling option. You see, normally in the schools and all, you ask the children, what is your dream, what do you want to be? They will either come as an IAS, PCS, engineer, doctor. But today's world is very different. All those scopes are very limited. All those scopes are, the scope which is the widest, has the biggest canvas, is actually entrepreneurship. So that is, and that is the reason we are also going for a skill training center, so that they appreciate things which they see around and how these things come about, through what kind of skills these things are coming around about. So that exposure to at the young age will be very helpful, developing the entrepreneur aspirations.
How does Hera Public School balance financial sustainability with its educational mission and values?
I think I have said it earlier. I can repeat it again. We have the resources. We input it for the infrastructure development and sustain the activity, sustain the schools up to certain level, and beyond which then it should become. Our ambition should be to make it self-sufficient in terms of operational cost. Financially must be self-sufficient, and it should be able to take care from there on. It should generate enough revenue from that infrastructure which has been built to sustain its not only the current activities but the future developments. So that is the model, and that is what we are working on, and we are very close to achieving it. And that is what I will advocate for other people as well.
So please tell us something about your future projects.
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked. We have a future project besides the school in its current location, current campus. My family has donated 7 acres piece of land, our ancestral land, for a future very modern campus, which we have tentatively named Talim Abad, the center of education, where we are planning a very sort of a ambitious project with potential investment of maybe 150 to 200 crores. And inshallah, that campus will be an ideal educational hub for whole of UP, where 2 separate schools for boys and girls, a skill training center, hostels, residential, both for students as well as teachers, and number of professional colleges like College of Nursing, College of Accountancy, where basic accounting degree, not the chartered accountancy, but lower level requirements will be fulfilled. Also courses like paramedicals, this kind of things, where after senior secondary, if the student spends 2 to 3 years, he will be ready for the market. And for those courses for which there is a ready demand in the market. In fact, there's a shortage. So we're not trying to develop highly academic like BA, MA, PhD in social sciences or linguistics and other things, because we think there are enough institutes for that. There are enough universities for that in India. Those who are interested then can go to those centers. What we are trying to develop is really the backbone of an industrial society, future India, where manufacturing base will be developed or is being developed. High technology centers are being developed. So we will start with some basics and we will progress towards very high technology, precision technological education, like for example, biotechnology, nanotechnology. But that will be in the future. Depends how much funding can we raise. Our vision is that we will go for a center where high quality school education, and then from there onwards extrapolate into very high quality, high technology training and skill training. That's our vision for Talim Abad, really.
Lastly, do you see yourself as an entrepreneur or a socialpreneur?
No, it is a social entrepreneurship. My entrepreneurship phase of life is over already, almost like 15 years ago. When I left the corporate world, I left the corporate stage at the age of about 61, 62. And there onward, it has been a social enterprise. And I think I really relish it. And this is the best part of my life. I'm working harder than I used to work for the corporate at this age.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you.